Yeah, what we're looking at here today is a Savage Model 99E. This particular one was made in 1969, according to the serial number I just ran. Pretty fascinating. I went to that site. You type in your gun serial number, click on here, and then this little thing lights up right here. Tells you what year your gun was made. I thought that was pretty easy. This camera, I just got a little bit too much magnification. It's hard to get close to them and see the whole gun. I'm down as low as it can go. And you notice that's a period for this gun scope, and you'll see through rings that I personally don't care for. The flip out caps. That's an on make scope too. Let me think of what the name of that was. Tilt this right, drop it. Something view or something. Bushnell, old Bushnell. This gun has a nice story to it. I bought this 91 maybe? 91, 92. I had a route. I can drift from my house to the Ohio River. It's all downhill, about 3 miles. I get to the main road on the Ohio River. I can go right or left, and got gun shops either way. I go right, I'm heading toward Ohio and West Virginia. I go left, I'm heading more into Pennsylvania. Not many gun shops left if you go left. The gun shops up there are bigger, and no mom and pops or no sitting at somebody's kitchen table. And the price is usually what they say. But my route looked like a clover leaf. If I went left, I could go across the river, or I could stay on this side of the river. If I went right, I could cross the Ohio River, climb the mountain, hit all the gun shops over that area, drop down and cross the river again and hit all the gun shops on that area, and come home up the other side of the river. About a 25-mile round trip. And back then, I can honestly say I knew every inventory and every gun shop in that 30-mile, 40-mile radius of my house. I was at every shop at least once a week, some 2 or 3 times, especially where this gun come from. Dave Wilkerson's gun shop. Dave was a nice guy, and I'm not saying nothing about heavy people or anything, but Dave was the biggest human being I ever met in person. He was huge. I don't know, 400 pound or more. I mean, I've never, you see large people, but very often somebody that sticks out like him. I got a good story about him and his weight that I'll throw in on one of these stories, but let's get back to this gun. He's got this little shop, 12 by 12, with a little bathroom in the corner. Private bathroom for himself behind the counter. So that area is all farmers. And he grew up over there and he knows all these farmers, you know, his whole life. So I go over there one chilly winter day. Now I had been stalking this gun. It come with a big cardboard box with 3 or 4 cans of powder, 5 or 6 boxes of different bullets, primers, dyes, powder, everything you needed to reload. Probably 200 casings in boxes, plus probably 100 rounds loaded in boxes, which I don't usually shoot people's reloads, so I still have them. But actually, get back to it. He wanted $300 for this gun with that big box, all the powders and everything, which, you know, sounds real cheap today, but back in 91, that was a lot of money. So I had been dealing back and forth. I'm offering him $250. He's wanting $300. I go over there one cold winter evening. The wife was at bingo or something. So I jumped in my truck and drove over. And if you look down in here, that's a rotary mag, and I'm never going to do this again. See, that moves. Well, I go in his shop. There's 4 of his buddies over there, farmers, big guys too. Not as big as him, but big guys. So there's 5 big guys in this wee little building. It's cold and it's snowing outside. The whole windows froze over in the front of the shop toward the highway. And he's got this like space heater thing running on the wall. And it's 300 degrees in there. I got a Carhartt on, long johns. I had, you know, been out in the weather all day. So I was dressed for outside weather. So I walk in and he's talking to all them 4 guys. So I'm looking around and I asked him, I said, hey, let me see that Savage. So as he's talking to these guys, he hands me the Savage. Like I said, I still have my coat on and everything. And for some reason, I opened it up and I'm looking down in there and I just took and stuck my finger down in there somehow. Maybe from the other side. But my finger went in and this is like a 1022 mag. I was going to have a clear 1022 mag here to show you. But there's like a rotating star in there. As you push your ammo in, it rotates and lets you put the next one in. Well, that thing rotated. And my finger was actually around the other way. But this crease right here on my finger rotated down on this way and got caught right on this piece of metal right here of that star that rotates. That thing rotated and snagged my finger and I couldn't get it out. Now not only was it 300 degrees in this building with the way he had the heat on, these guys, these farmers all had great big ankle boots or knee boots on, covered in cow manure because they had been manuring their fields that day. I don't know, I guess their barns were full, so they just dump it right in the manure spreader, take it out and spread it. But you got these 4 big farmers there with cow shit literally up to their knees, stinking the whole place up. It's probably 95 degrees in that place, to not exaggerate. 90, 95 degrees. I'm standing behind all of them. I'm stuffed in the corner up against this heater with my finger stuck in this gun. And I didn't want them to see that. So I'm just sort of standing back there pretending like I'm looking at the gun. And I can't get my coat off. I can't get my finger out of that gun to take my Carhartt off. So I'm sweating bullets. I'm soaking wet with sweat. And every time these guys get ready to leave, old Dave, he's stopping them and asking them something else. I'm thinking to myself, come on, Dave, let these guys go. We got to get my finger out of here. So finally, after what seemed forever, they said goodbye and they walked out the door. I walk up to the counter and old Dave got this shit-eating look on his face. I said, how long have you known I've been standing here with this gun and with my finger stuck in this gun? He said, oh, about the last hour and a half. He said, I purposely held them there just to mess with you. He says, okay. He says, what are we going to do? He says, you're going to give me the $300 I want and buy this gun and I'll get your finger out or what? I said, I'll tell you what we'll do right here, right now. I got $265 and get my finger out of this gun. So, well, we can't shake hands on it. My finger's stuck in the gun. So he gets a screwdriver out. We begin to loosen up screws and taking this gun apart to get my finger out. We get my finger out, we get the gun put back together, and I pay him, and as I'm going out the door, I turned around, and he was like, well, that's the first time I'll ever have the upper hand on you. And I said, yeah, probably. But like I say, I was an hour and a half stuck in this gun at least. And he didn't expose me. He knew it the whole time. I didn't know it, but he knew the whole time my finger was stuck in this gun. And he was just hanging them guys around as long as he could to make me sweat. Old Dave, he was a good guy. Odd action, huh? A lot of times you'll find the screw that holds the fore end on is broke. I'm feeling on that one. This might be, no, it's just right there it is. There's a screw right there, and I don't know because it's out so far or what, but the lug on the barrel breaks off. I fixed several of them. Oh, Dave, he was something. Had this little bathroom. Had a 3-foot door on it. It wasn't much wider than that. I go over to his shop one day. Nobody's there. I walk in, there's nobody there. And I'm looking around, I'm not saying nothing. Nobody's saying nothing to me. Finally, I say, Dave, I start yelling for him. He's like, Sean, is that you? I said, yeah. He says, come around the back of the counter. I thought maybe, he's too big. He couldn't have been laying on the floor. I'd have seen him. I go around behind the counter. The bathroom door opens up. His hand comes out. He says, grab a hold of my hand and pull me. I couldn't figure out what the heck's going on, So I grab a hold of his hand, and he pulls and slams me right into the door. Boom. I'm like, holy shit. It was like grabbing a hold of a cow or something and it jerking you. So it ends up, he has to open the door. Where the walls on this bathroom ain't no bigger, no wider than the door. And he sat down on the toilet and got stuck. His butt was wider than the damn walls. So it ended up, I had to take the bathroom door off of the hinges, get it out of the way. And I got a foot on each side of the outside of the door. And I got him by both arms. He's got both of my arms, holding my hands to his. And I'm pulling just as hard as I can. And finally, we get him unstuck from the bathroom, from the toilet. He comes up off the toilet. I fall against the floor. Guns fall on me. He made stuff out of horns, out of cow horns and that. He made powder horns. He made rings and napkin holders. He was always carving, so there was always cow horns and stuff. The place was always a mess. Stuff was falling all over the floor and everything. He must have been vacuum packed onto that toilet or something, because when it come loose and he come up, Like I say, I just went flying. He let go of me. I went flying. But that had to be one of the most weirdest things ever happened to me at a gun shop. Old Dave, man, I bought a lot of my guns. When I start posting some stuff here on different guns, you'll hear Dave's name mentioned a lot because he used to call me when his rent was due, and I'd go over and he'd sell me stuff cheap so he could pay his rent. We had this little game. I'd pull in, he'd say, "What's in your pocket?" Of course, I knew everything he had on his shelf, so I had a different amount of money in each pocket. I used to look what he had, decide how much money I wanted to spend, and I'd go to that pocket and get my money out. And I'd lay it out on the counter and we'd start dealing. I'll give you this gun, this gun, this gun. I'd say, no, I want that gun, this gun, and this gun. And in the end, I got something more or less what I wanted. And he got his rent paid. But that's how most of my collection grew. Was from dealing with him and him needing rent money. I was over there 3-4 nights a week. I was such a good customer. When I come to his shop, he'd say, "Watch the shop." He'd get in his truck and leave, go home and eat. He lived a couple miles down the road. He'd go home, grab himself a sandwich and that. I'd sit there and watch his shop for an hour or so while he was gone. I started doing some cleaning. I'm going to add I'm going to add a 6-foot gun rack over there. Start cleaning that out. I got to move that cupboard there. I want to get clear over to that deer head. I want to put I think it's 13 more guns. I got a piece of wood with notches. I'm actually going to put it down lower so them ARs and them short barrel guns I'm going to drop it down probably a foot. Take it over to them horns over there. I just got to figure out what to do with all this stuff. I already started cleaning. Alright, everybody have a good one. I just want to jump in here, and I ain't made a video in a couple of days. I figured I'd get this out, and while I was telling stories, this was a good one. Alright, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Everybody have a good day. Today's 26th or 27th of September.